Hallo und herzlich willkommen hier bei Fashion hilft, powered by Share. Und mein Name ist Tarek und ich freue mich wirklich sehr, heute durchs Programm hosten zu dürfen, denn wie konsumieren wir richtig? Das ist die große Frage, die in den letzten Tagen hier im Goldenen Haus schon mehrmals gestellt wurde. Und heute dreht sich alles um das Thema Fashion. Und als ich bei Share gelesen habe, dass Fashion und Konsum hilft, war ich so, Halleluja, der Modepapst hat gesprochen. Ja, meine Shoppingsucht ist vielleicht gar nicht so schlimm. Und dann habe ich aber mal ein bisschen genauer hingeschaut und habe gelesen, dass es um nachhaltigen Konsum geht. So, und ich glaube, ich kann da noch eine ganze Menge lernen, vielleicht wir alle, denn wir wollen heute den Fragen nachgehen, wie konsumieren wir richtig? Wie sieht nachhaltige Produktion aus? Was macht ein Modelabel inklusiv und fair und öko? Was bedeuten diese ganzen großen Wörter eigentlich? Und das machen wir mit zwei richtig spannenden Panels. Und dann wird es danach hier noch eine Modenshow geben. Und zwar von der Designerin Melissa Minzer. Also nach den Panels nicht weglaufen. Ich glaube, um 20 Uhr geht's los. Und es gibt auch noch eine After-Show-Party. Und Party ist doch immer gut. So, und ich würde sagen, wir starten jetzt auch direkt mit dem ersten Panel. Das werde ich nicht moderieren, das wird auf Englisch stattfinden. Und Themen von dem Panel sind Zero Waste Fashion, Circular Fashion und Upcycling. Und mit dabei auf dem Panel sind die Designerin Melissa Minzer, das wird die sein, die nachher dann auch ihre Fashion Show machen wird. Dann ist mit dabei Sophie Clausen von Avenir Circular Fashion, Rune Orloff ist mit dabei von Pool Berlin und mit dabei ist auch noch Romy Lagotka und Maxime Genique von Labels. Und moderieren wird das Ganze Joao Rodriguez von Share. Viel Spaß damit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this amazing panel. I'm very, very, very proud to be here. As you can see, at Share, fashion is starting to be a topic for us. And I thought it was a good moment to actually start the panel with a new way of consumption. So the whole topic of this house is how do we consume rightfully? Therefore, we start the panel with people that are completely questioning how we consume fashion today. And then I'd like to invite to the stage Melissa Minzer, our designer from today. You can sit. Melissa is an upcycling designer, and as all of you know, she's gonna host today a show here, her first fashion show, very, very exciting. Melissa has a lot to show today. You will see that her creativity has no boundaries, and actually, creativity and sustainability can fit together. After, I would like to invite from Pool Berlin, Rune Orloff. To the stage, yes, please. So, Rune is one of the co-founders of Pool. Pool is more than simply a brand. Pool is an entire community and is completely redefining what actually buying, I don't know if I should say, or consuming fashion really means. Because with Pool, we don't simply buy and own. At Pool, we have and swap. The concept is simple. Simple. It's not that simple, actually. It's revolutionary, I would say. We pay a membership, so everyone has a membership, but and thanks to this membership, you can actually have a product from their amazing wardrobe and collection and be able to swap it. So it means that you don't have, when you're tired of your fashion, I know I love fashion, but very often I get tired of some of the pieces I have. And when you like sustainability, you feel pretty bad about this. But thanks to Pool, you don't have to, because they make that the pieces that you don't like anymore, that you want to swap for something new, are actually going to be worn by somebody else. After this, I would like to invite a couple of revolutionaries, the co-founders of labels. Please come to the stage. Maxime Junik and Romy Ladokotka. Sorry. Here. Both of you, actually. Sorry. Maxime? Il faut que tu sois là. Sorry. Another very revolutionary brand, what they are offering us, we all know about certain, the success stories of brands like Gorillas, Flink, we all know about this, but what they do is put together sustainability, a complete circular fashion company that actually delivers at your door in 30 minutes products. You would say maybe, okay, we're talking about sustainability, 30 minutes delivery, where's the sustainability here? Well, I tell you, this amazing couple of creatives simply launched a brand that delivers in 30 minutes, zero waste. They want to reach no packaging, so that means that on top of your delivery, you don't have any packaging. And more of that, they are not simply selling products, they're actually helping brands and local brands to first be known, then to improve their sustainability, and actually give access to all of us, to all of these brands that we would like to know more about. Next and last, I would like to welcome Sophie Clausen. I'm sorry, that was really bad. I need to take up for this mistake, but I can tell you that I didn't forget about your amazing brand. We have here two representatives of upcycling. Avenir, the brand from Sophie, is also an upcycling brand, and on top of the fact that they are upcycling, they also produce on demand. What does that mean? She will explain you better than me, I'm sure, but first of all, the idea is that instead of producing and burning like so many other brands do when they have too much waste, they only produce what actually is desired and want to be sold. So now, let's start. I wanted to start with a few facts about the fashion industry. I don't know if all of you know, but I think this is a very important factor because at Share, as you know, we are a social impact company. We want to actually have impact through our products, and one of the topics is actually access to water. And this is not very far from the topics of fashion, because in fashion, 700 gallons of water, for example, for one cotton shirt are used at once, for simply one cotton shirt, I'm sorry. That means that this actual total of amount of gallons could be used for 8 cups a day for one person during 3.5 years. That puts some questions. The fashion industry produces alone 10% of the global carbon emissions. That means that by 2050, 1/4 of the carbon world's budget will be used only for fashion. Global fashion companies are also responsible for 1/3 worldwide water pollution and 80% of the pollution at the worldwide costs. Now, these were the facts. There are more, but we'll start with those. I would like to ask the same question to all of you. Is there still hope? We can start here with Sophie.
Okay. Hi. Yes, I am pretty certain about the fact that there's still hope. And I think especially after the pandemic, it has been pretty clear, I think, to kind of all of us that we really need to do something and that we need to act right now because things are happening and everyone can see it and actually feel it. So I think hope is bigger than ever.
actually, this leads me to a question, an unplanned question, because a very important fact, actually, that I think maybe motivated you then for the brand is that I know that you launched at the time of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Was this actually a result of the effect of the pandemic in the way you thought of actually evolving in our society?
No, that was a long dream before that, and pandemic made it more difficult in the beginning. But it was actually a good time to see that people are actually starting to believe in what your belief already is, which is pretty awesome to see.
Amazing. Now, anyone else wants to show? I can point you, but you can also. We'll go with you, Mr. Couples from Labels. I would call you this today.
Yeah, I would say that we're the last generation who can actually give hope, and if not we, then who? And there is hope for sure, but it is very complex, and we need to just realize that it's not some one thing fixes everything, like one miracle solution, but it is actually rather an assembly of many things that then together, like when you cook, you take spices, you take different ingredients to make it happen, basically. So I think there is hope, but it needs systemic change, governmental, motivated and fast government, and many businesses that will be created. And obviously also the old companies, like the big global companies, fashion brands, need to completely change their business model, actually, because fast fashion will not fit there, actually. I've heard that H&M, I think, has like a sustainability officer, and he said that it will not work, right? So they'll actually continue doing what they're doing, but they will actually have to drop it all and do something else. Ideally, maybe they could create solutions for recycling, for example, right? Basically fix the problem they caused, for example. So
do you think that that means
hope.
they have to completely transform themselves, or actually is there a way to still be a brand as visible as H&M in the world and actually do the jump to the transition of something more sustainable? Do you think it's at this scale possible? Question to everybody.
At that scale, I mean, they have they're faster than any government can be. If you think about any of those global companies, they have a network, they're very fast, they're driven by efficiency. Governments aren't. So they can actually do a lot of good, but they need to figure out how to do it, because right now they're only profit driven. And I think a brand can always work at that scale. Why not? I don't think there's anything against it. We have kind of like a little idea of that, how to do it as well. I don't know if I should already.
Actually, like that was basically where my question was going to lead.
Yeah.
You stated that in order to change globally, we need to start locally. It's a very interesting statement, and I would love you to share with the audience what does that mean.
Yeah, so basically it's a question of taking distance into the equation in the way we consume, because for the moment we just don't care so much. You can say that you have a sustainable marketplace, but still things are coming from all over the place. So I think one of the key points is to really relocalize, take distance into the equation, and that leads to a lot of really cool things, because shorter distances means shorter delivery times, less packaging, less waste, more culture empowerment, because then you focus more on what's available locally. So you focus on local creators, local brands, and there is just so much available right next to us. It's incredible, and we don't really know about these things. So we want to show you all that and give you access to that really easily.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing? I find it. I mean, this would lead me also to Melissa, because Melissa actually has experience with working with some of the big brands. You had a collaboration with Nike not so far ago. And I would like you to also give me your opinion. How do you think it's possible to include so drastically different business models and ways of creating, as all of you are doing here with brands like Nike, for example? I mean, of course, they worked with you. Do you think it's a step for the future? Do you think it's something we can imagine will continue in this direction?
You want me to be honest? Yeah, okay. I think
It's difficult to imagine that this would continue the same way that it was and it would somehow get better. I think the fact that they work with me is mostly motivated by PR, that, you know, if I can say that, it's basically lending. So, I mean, okay, let me just be completely honest about this. In the last campaign, I was called the dedicated activist, and I actually had a conversation with them about this, and I was like, don't call me an activist. Not like in the Zalando ad, they called everybody an activist of optimism. And I think a lot of these concepts get just hijacked by the big companies, and then all of a sudden, these important political things and movements really get diluted. And this is what the big companies are really good at, just taking something, paying people to be the face for them.
Okay.
And it's very hard to say no to these things from my position. So I'm just gonna tell you straight up, I don't believe that this is the way to do it. I wouldn't expect such a big company to all of a sudden start caring. I think what I read in this one brief was that the Nike sustainability officer said that that it's at the core of the strategy. The Nike strategy, the sustainability is at its core because they realize that if there is no planet, they won't have a business. And that resonated with me because I was like, yeah, I think if this is the motivating factor, then maybe, just maybe, that would work. Because at the end of the day, even for capitalism, if capitalism wants to survive, it needs to somehow realize that it's killing itself. So the way out of it is
Say it.
I don't know.
I mean,
It's complicated.
what I like and what I found very interesting about all of these panels is actually like, of course, we all know the problems. I mean, the numbers that I told you at the beginning were very clear. We all know that actually the industry is reaching a level where, as you said, it's killing itself and it's not working anymore. We need to find a solution. And what I think is interesting between all of you is that you are really actually giving solutions. So what can actually big companies learn from you? What do you Sorry.
Actually, I think the big companies, what they can learn from us is, in my opinion, I thought about this question because you asked me that beforehand. And I was really thinking about it because obviously they have all the power and all the manpower, and they've been doing this for quite a longer time than we've been trying to change it. And so I think what they can learn from us is being like radically honest about like their their waste, their pollution, their emission that they cause and caused and still are causing, even though they are collaborating with young designers and making themselves look pretty amazing in like changing their mindset. And I think actually that's the best thing they can learn about us because we're so young. We have to be, and we want to be very radical honest about what we're doing. We want to get in touch with the consumer and tell them, okay, hey, this is going wrong. So I think that is probably the biggest message I would tell them. Like, just tell people how much shit you do, and you've been doing all the long way you came.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, now, one thing that is very interesting is like all of you, of course, are changing the way of consumption. But when we talk about Pool, Pool is not a brand that is actually focused on 12 collections a year, or you're actually making that people have access to fashion in a better way, so to say, in the sense that basically all of these brands are trying to sell more and more and more and sell, 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 and not thinking about the waste. And what I found interesting is that your business model is not about selling. And I would like if you could give a few words to explain us a bit more what your business model is.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for pitching, and I'm pitching and pitching. That's very nice. We don't have any collection ourselves. We are a platform. We are sort of a modern retail platform where you sign up to a membership, and we have a pool of products now shared between 28 brands. We get the products that were not ordered for us. They were made for the market that demanded them at one point, or overproduced, and then we take these products in and we start sharing them. So it's a small shared economy, and kind of like this, we sit in Kreuzberg, and we also believe in this local development. So we wanted to start a Berlin base first, set up a membership base here, and set up a pool of products in Berlin. So that's the first space. We opened last week officially. We've been working on it for some time. We also started in COVID last year, when that was full on and everyone was talking about hope. And yeah, I mean, here we are today. We opened last week to the public, and we now started taking in members. Now we have more than 100 members sharing their wardrobe, and we really see it as an extension to your wardrobe at home. And maybe in the future we can be a substantial percentage of what you wear on a daily basis. We just want to look at it in a complete different way, because I don't believe that sort of the idea of owning something doesn't make any sense anymore. It's a capitalistic way of looking at everything. I mean, fashion is temporary, so why own it forever? Resale platforms are popping out everywhere because they're generating second, third, and fourth markets. So we just said maybe we should just wear out the garments until they can't do it anymore, and then we recycle them, because recycling facilities are really developing in a nice way. So yeah, that's where we stand. We believe in anti-ownership for sort of the better of the industry, and also for the environment. Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, I'm a member, by the way. No, but I really think that going in different ways of consumption can lead to a better way of living and liking fashion. I mean, I think you said something that is really interesting, is that fashion is not forever, or that fashion changes, so at the end we should change somehow too. But then I think it raises directly a question. You were called recently the Spotify of fashion. When we think about Spotify, usually we don't think sustainability, but actually this made me think. I started thinking about it and thinking that they had an impact on sustainability somehow, because at the end of the day, we started producing less albums and less physical products, and there is less waste in the music industry. A different waste, of course, or there is, yeah. I see.
No, the reason why I think we talked a lot about Spotify is really because, back to hope.
Yep.
I think the industry is fucking everything up. They want to sell more, that's the boardrooms, that's how it is. And everyone always starts talking about the blame, where the blame going, and the blame is not going to the consumer is really the hope. Everyone can change. And I think COVID is a great example. Everyone changed overnight, everyone wanted to live differently and had to, and it took no time. There was budgets for everything, we could really change. And I think for us it's really a consumer topic. So we were always joking with, in the 90s, my dad was collecting CDs, he had these CD towers at home, and it was this thing. And when you think about it today, it's completely ridiculous. But it's just going back to the great music. Of course, LPs can play amazing music. It's even better than playing it anywhere else. But that's the nostalgic part. That's just not the global mainstream scaled version. So when we looked at if we really want to scale fashion, and as any startup, we were looking at statistics. We're looking at the young user. They would use a garment 3 to 5 times before they would send it on, discard it, throw it out. The fast fashion. How can we feed that energy and then still give them a sustainable product? And that just for us became fight fire with fire. Maybe we can just let them try as much as they want from our wardrobe, but never own anything, so we can keep circulating.
So that means that at the end your purpose is actually because that was my next question is, there is a clear possibility of having a rebound effect, that at the end of the day, if we consume more, I mean, I can imagine myself, I love fashion, so if I can tell myself that I can have a different piece every day almost, I mean, it's not exactly the point, but it will make me used to this idea that, okay, so I need to change my clothes and my garments and my style often. If people don't only consume in this way, don't you think that it might also encourage overconsumption of fashion? Or
If I can make, for me, if I can make people overconsume what they don't own, and we can keep track of the resources and keep using the same resources again, then we're at a really good place. The problem is now that everyone's producing things that nobody really wants. So if we can see what people want, we can also maybe feed that in a better way. But I just want to say we don't have 100% solution. We have like maybe 5%, 10% of a wardrobe. It's not like a solution like that. We have one type of solution and it works for someone. Not for everyone. But theoretically, you could change every day if you want to. It would fuck up my business, but it's fine.
no, I mean, it raises the question of trends, isn't it? I mean, in fashion, we can never not consider trends. They are what makes fashion. I mean, and there, I would like also to ask Melissa, because I think the way we work with upcycling, I mean, upcycling is not new. I think like now a lot of people are talking about it more and more. But the concept itself, I mean, Marta Magella was already doing upcycling. It was not called upcycling at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think upcycling was going on way before Margiela.
But what I want to ask is then, like, how does this impact the creative process of creative garments? Because there is tradition. I mean, fashion has existed forever. We always needed to get dressed. But how does it impact your creative process? I would like to hear you, but also you. But you can start.
Okay. Right. So I didn't study fashion, so I also don't really. Yeah, I studied sustainable development and politics. And I taught myself how to make clothes. And yeah, so I kind of realized as I was going that the way you're supposed to do it is to create this idea or a sketch or something and then go out, get your materials, and that's kind of how it starts, with the inspiration, and you go from there. But with upcycling, it's, for me at least, maybe some people do it differently. I do it, I just get the materials and then either I'm inspired once I see them, or I just see the potential, or the material's good, or anything, and then I take it, and then I take it from there, basically. So the process is almost backwards, but that's how it works for me. And it's, I think it stimulates the creativity when you don't have infinite amount of resources to work with. At least that's for me again. It's a super fun kind of a puzzle. When I work with scraps, it really depends how many, what, and so the design process is quite long, and also, yeah, it's just complicated, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah. And yeah.
For us, why we did start with that?
Yeah, I mean, more the question also, like, how does it impact your work to actually work with upcycling? Also, I think you have a double problematic in the sense that you also have the fact that you produce on demand. So I think we talk about, like, you talked about how many resources you have to create and the quantity, and at the end this raises the same questions for you. How do we work with your materials? And
Sure. So, okay, for us, for example, we work kind of the same way like you. Like, we go out there and we try to find the materials that we like and we like to work from. For example, for us, it started all with denim. That came just out of the fact that I went to Textilhafen, that I would really like to mention here, that they're great. They're a big donation center, and they collect a lot of old clothes. And especially during Corona times, there were a lot of stuff coming in because everyone was chucking out the old stuff, you will know, and refresh their wardrobe and stuff. And so as soon as it was allowed, we actually went there and had a look at how much is actually how much they actually receive every week, every day. And so we actually started working there for a little while to kind of get an idea of the idea that we had already in our head. because I'm a fashion designer and I worked in the industry before, and I've seen all the beautiful things that were created and all the new trends that were created that fashion needs, but at the same time the waste that gets produced. So yeah, so we went out there and we've seen, okay, the material that comes in the most is denim, and so that's how we started. And yeah, same way as you, we get inspired by the material we find. And producing on demand, yes, is the second challenge, but it comes kind of like hand in hand, because I mean, we found like a very close by supply where we can get most of our materials, basically. And so it's really easy for us to do all of the very, very, very upcycled pieces on demand, because we have that lovely team there that we can call and be like, okay, we need this and that amount of denim, like blue denim, men, whatever, and can you please collect it for us? And they do. And so we'd never produce too much, which is really, really nice to see. This is for the very, very upcycled pieces, like this pants, for example, or like we have a lovely denim jacket and all that. And for the other products we have, we go around and go to wholesalers and ask them for like leftover materials. And then we work from what we have left from the meters, you know, because sometimes it's just like 100 meters left, sometimes it's just like 80. And so this is kind of like how also we can only produce on demand, because if it's like too much demand, then that's it.
Interesting. I mean, there is for me a question that goes to all of you. It's and you actually raised already somehow the problematic. I mean, your concepts are completely revolutionary, and most of you at the beginning of your businesses. I would like to understand, like, how do you imagine to scale it up? I think it would be very interesting to have your opinion, as you are the fighters for local. And I think one thing that is very interesting to mention is that Avenir is actually part of labels.
We wrote too.
No? Okay, sorry. That was a but then, like, the idea, how do we imagine growth as soon as we are not local anymore? How do we become bigger? And
So maybe it's like, just to map it out again, just for you guys to understand. So it's basically like a hyperlocal marketplace where we allow you to discover everything that the city has to offer. So, and we also don't believe in like buying being the only way to consume. So we want to diversify that, but we have to start somewhere. So we first want to really gather like all these small brands, like from upcyclers to all sorts of brands that kind of exist in the city. Then we also created like a little scale, so like a impact assessment, where we check exactly and what is the impact of the brands joining, and incentivize them basically also to pay less on the platform. The better their impact is. The more local they source their product, their materials, the more they support the local economy, and the better sustainable practices they implement. So we create this little framework, this little like app that works and tests, like if it works great, like in Berlin, then we can take this little thing, bring it to Barcelona, and like have a little team of people that are local to Barcelona to like embrace what their culture is giving. It's going to be might be completely different to what's happening in Berlin, right? But maybe
adaptive.
It's like in that way scalable. Yeah.
But so because it's called labels, actually it means like kind of nothing. It's just the labels. So it's we really want to give space for the brands and the creators to speak for themselves. So it's really scalable in a way that in all the places we are going to go, we are not coming with like, we are not there to colonize anything. Okay, we put labels there, and then we just need a group of people that just love their city, love its culture, and will use labels just as a tool to like federate all of this together and make it really easily accessible.
Somehow creating a community on its own, and I think like I remember in our previous conversation with you that the idea is not only to talk about specific product brands, but also that you want to connect in the city, for example, people that would repair clothes when they use them.
Exactly. So what we mean by it, not only like what if you ask yourself, when I consume, you probably like who would think of something else than buying? Yeah, the rare ones, right? And the really the visionaries. But it's not something that we really know about, right? But actually, consuming was it's normal to. It was used to be normal to also go and repair something that you love, right? Go and maybe bring it to an upcycling designer and completely change it. Take like a cover, like we have this one brand on the platform that collects all the leather couches in the city, strap the leather off of it, and they make incredible designer bags out of it, pouches. They told us so many incredible stories, you know, also of like emotional attachment, some like this belonged to their family and now the family wanted to get rid of everything and the daughter brought that back, you know. This really carries something, and if we remember that things can mean something to us, we can embrace repairs, we can embrace rentals also, like if you think about vintage rentals, anything like that. Perfect, like that pool is really like bringing this also into the game already, because we cannot do everything at once as well, like in a way, and it will never be that there is one solution, so in a way, but what we want to try to build is actually a system. So if you think about those 30-minute deliveries, it's the logistics is necessary to create a sustainable cities, sustainable consumption. We need to have a way to have access to them. Like it needs to be, of course, affordable. That's one thing, but also like if you think about repairing, it's so much easier to buy something new than to get something repaired. But what if somebody can be at your door in less than 30 minutes or 30 minutes at tops, pick something up, like the bunch of stuff you wanted to get repaired for a long time, get this done for you, and then bring it back, problem solved. Same for donations, we want to collect it, and because secondhand has such a big impact, like a big problem actually, they just bring everything to Africa and let people suffer there. Their economies are suffering, like not only fashion, e-waste as well. All of these are just going unnoticed, not at all transparent, and we want to go to Textilhafen and bring them these things, where then Avenir can source their material, basically. So this is we're basically more of like a connector between what's missing right now, and we want to level up, like buying being only one of the options, right? And one of the last things that we want to implement, just very briefly, is that experiences. So you being here is an experience of trying to understand fashion differently. If you go to pools events, if you go to maybe a workshop that you guys are organizing, we have one brand that actually, I already trial participated, but I made my own pants, right? So I bought them, but I also made them myself. So imagine that. Imagine if we could stop thinking of buying being the only option we have. We're not stuck with that at all. So,
The voice of a revolutionary. Yeah, I mean, I think the solution. What is really impressive is the fact that all of this, or somehow you're actually connecting all of the other panelists and all of the people in the city itself. You bringing back actually something that it's funny, because when you were talking about repairing a leather bag and creating something new out of it, I was just thinking that my grandma used to do this with her clothes. I mean, it's just that at some point we just reached the facility of just getting something new and not repairing it, and I mean, we had to realize at some point that it wouldn't work. I mean, the thing that I found interesting, because I really want to make it clear, is that all the access that you give about connecting these different brands to the logistics, you also are talking about zero carbon emissions. You really want to reach this objective. Like, how do you want to actually reach this? And on top of that, because you talk zero carbon emission and no packaging, what does that mean?
So this is really related to our logistics. So since everything is already available in the city, it's super simple. Actually, like long deliveries, it's like just more emissions. It's just not better than like really short deliveries, because everything is already available in the city. We can deliver it really quickly, and there is no emissions linked to that. So this is how we make no emissions. because our warehouse is in the city as well. It's not like outside of the city, like Amazon, 40 kilometers away. It's in the heart of the city. So from there, we can deliver with electric bikes. It's very simple. It's like a friend dropping by, giving you the thing, or giving you a service. And then for no packaging, because the product is not doing such like long distances, we don't have to repack everything, like bigger e-commerce websites will do basically. So we just put it in a little bag, bring it to you, and then we give an incentive for people to like give back this little bag and to always also think about giving back this packaging, giving back to the community, like for its culture. Yeah, we would want to integrate that.
For the packaging and for the logistics, of course, like we're in a testing phase, so we're going to see if 30 minutes, right, is valuable, if people really want that. But honestly, it's not difficult to do. It's not something like we're pushing it. Like we're in the middle of the city, and 30 minutes is just like feasible. And for the packaging, we want to do actually a fund, so where you actually give back like the thing, and you get money back, kind of with the bottles. But we really also want to test it first, because it's not the same. Yeah, we want to first test it with these like really nice paper bags that people can, when we deliver, it's not repackaged, that's one thing, and then they can just give it back to us right when we deliver, or they can give it next time they buy something or order a service, basically. So that's like an idea, right? To kind of test it. Ideally, we would have really durable materials, so like things that would, like this package that will be lasting for like out of a very durable material, and we have those as well. But those are, yeah, we don't know exactly where people are at yet. We're meeting each other. We're actually kind of testing grounds, and this hasn't been done like this before. So yeah, but it's not difficult to do. I'm wondering why hasn't this been done before? I think it's just about allowing yourself, I think, to embrace these ideas rather than, I don't know why the other companies haven't, like, why? Because okay, we're a marketplace, right? So any of those Zalandos, Amazons, and they could have done this. I'm actually curious, what do you guys think? What is preventing them from it? Maybe because they're so big? I don't know.
No, I'm just thinking that probably the biggest challenge is to deliver outside of big cities. That's probably that. Yeah. That would mean they would have a lot of warehouses, I guess, all over the. That is probably why they think in masses and they think big. They don't think locally, I guess.
I had this one last idea about actually H&M doesn't bring you anything special. Like it doesn't make you feel more special, like with the fashion that they bring you. Doesn't do what fashion does best, like make you feel in a certain way. It actually gives you something very generic. So I don't know if they have a place in the future. Maybe it will really be back to really these unique creators in these cities that gives you a feeling of uniqueness, really, right? It doesn't have to be everybody wearing the same T-shirt. Can be really so different.
Yeah. Now, actually, one last question to all of you would be, if you could tell something to those brands, what would it be? Would you tell them, Melissa?
Just stop. Just stop.
Okay.
Yeah, all the big ones.
Ruin?
I mean, if they just stop, there's a lot of people losing their jobs, so it's not. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. But I'm sick and tired of hearing them doing things that are like lighthouses, like your project, because they could also just do it for real. My latest example, like H&M just launched a rental, and it's like a little corner with 8 pieces. They could also just close the one on Friedrichstraße and change it into a rental if they wanted to. There's really opportunities to go all in. Also think maybe share is also proving you can do things at scale if you want to. So, I mean, I don't think stopping is the right thing. I think they have the power to do it, and I think we just need to take it from the governmental side and start taxing the hell out of them. That's the only thing that will really change things.
Yeah, yes. I mean, obviously they can't just stop, but like, the question is not what I would ask the companies, because the companies will do what they do best, is make money. It's what you said, it's the governments that really need to step in here, because otherwise they won't do it willingly.
Now, sorry, just because we don't have so much time, I just want to have a like in 2 words from you, and then, I mean, you said it already a bit. What would you tell them?
Yeah, they have to change their business model. So I would think that they should go into recycling. There's like this textile, is it like forever garment, remember? Infinite fiber, like actually Zalando invested like, I don't know, 30 million or something into them. So it's like a way to find a way, but they have to close shop. They're not bringing much actually. They have to find another way.
Thank you.
Maybe just something.
Yeah.
Okay, for the next big brands, just choose your investors carefully. Because the biggest problem they have is that they are pretty much blocked. It's not like one guy taking all the decisions. They have like investors, and it's not an independent business. And that's why we focus so much on independent businesses, because they have the power to really change. It's like not 20 persons taking decisions and only driven by profits. So choose your investors carefully if you want to scale, and choose investors that are not caring just about profit at any price, but also about purpose and what it means to scale. So.
Thank you. Last word.
I stick to my words from before. Just be like strictly honest, radical, transparent, and let people know what you have been doing and what you are doing at the moment.
Thank you all. It was a great panel, I guess. Thank you. We have a break now.